are oppressed. We are exploited. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
How great I am.
If you're some man of the rock,
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
Let us sing forever. Let us play forever.
Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside.
Welcome back to the realest podcast in the world. I'm Osama,
My name is Mohammed.
and we are Ways. If I sound dead, just because I'm tired, but anyways, we still got a podcast to do. Mohammed, tell them this amazing episode and what it's about.
Like we told everyone during the month, Women's Month is a month where we honor guests who are very honorable in what they do, how they perceive themselves, and how they have an everyday grind that's embedded in their overall goal of changing the world. And these people are diverse in what they do and how they approach as far as the community, themselves. And we all want to take notes from them because if we do that, we can become better individuals overall. So today's guest is a very special person. We've never met her before. This is our first time talking to her. So we did an event a while back ago for Future Vibes. And I saw her on a prompt, like as one as a guest panel for Black History Month. And seeing her page, I just knew that she's doing something that I wish I would have done when I was like 18 or 19. And even then, her mindset and just her credibility is just something that had to be talked about, had to be shared. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear this episode because her IG account, the name itself, I'll never be broke again, lets me know if someone's that vulnerable, that open, then obviously they have a story. And with that story, we must take heed. So without a doubt, we have Kalysha. Welcome to the podcast. Let everyone know where they can follow you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, guys. You can follow me on my I like to call it a financial education page. It's called, as Muhammad was saying, I'll never be broke again. So all one word, no spaces, no periods, just spell it out and you'll find me.
Now, the first question I have for you is, what's your background? Where are you from?
Okay, so I was born in Canada, but my parents are, my dad was born in Canada as well, actually, but my mom was born in Bermuda, but by accident. And she was supposed to be born in Jamaica. My grandma just got caught traveling, but she grew up in Jamaica, so her background is Jamaican.
That's amazing. That's dope. And obviously, like when it comes to immigrant household, there's like certain unwritten rules with money and stuff, right? I know my parents for us is like, hey, our job was just to come here. And once we're here, it's on you guys to take over. And it's like, okay, but what does that mean, you know? And when I used to get in trouble and stuff in school and stuff, my dad's like, I didn't swim all the way to this country for you to act like a fool, you know, and all these different things. So I want to ask you, what does it mean as far as your upbringing, as far as your culture and your background? Like, how did you grow up? Where did you grow up? What was it like growing up in your household?
So I grew up in Scarborough for like until about grade 2. So not majority of my life, I actually was in Ajax, but started in Scarborough. My grandma came over and then she brought my mom over and then one of my uncles and my other uncle. And then, so my grandma has 4 kids. So one is still back in Jamaica, but, my cousin as well, actually, which was the aunt that's in Jamaica, her daughter. And we're all in like a 2-bedroom apartment. I don't really remember much of like where everybody slept because I would love to see if I could go back and see how we all fit in there in that apartment and how we all shared 2 bathrooms. But yeah, so we all like kind of like thugged it out until my mom was able to get an apartment actually down the hall from my grandma. So then me and my mom, my sister moved down the hall and then we moved to Ajax. So my mom and my dad ended up getting back together I was in grade 2 and then they bought a house in Ajax.
So far, you've been mentioning your grandma, and she must sound like a wonderful person because I always say the risk she's been taking since the beginning. What is one thing that you learned, or maybe she told you, that stuck with you for the rest of your life?
Ooh, that's a good one. She always, don't give up. She never gives up. My grandma is a fighter in many different ways. Sometimes physical, as she tells her stories as to when she was growing up.
I know the ones.
Yeah, right? But like she's never given up. Like even when things are hard, when life is hard, she never gives up and she always finds a way to get what she needs and also to give back, right? So she's also that piece of giving back and that piece of being kind and helping out people. I definitely get those traits from my grandma.
Before we get to the financial education, as far as who you are and what you are currently, still, in the beginning, as far as school, were you a good student? Were you a bad student? Did you care about school? Did you hate school? Like, I want to know if this is a transition or was this like something that was going to happen? It was bound to happen. Let us know.
This is a great question. Okay, I was bad in school.
How bad?
Very bad. So in Scarborough, I was always in the principal's office for some reason. Like I can remember Mr. Snow, that was his name, and I was always just chilling in his office every day. And then when we moved to Ajax, my mom's like, okay, it's a new start. Behave in school, in class. That didn't happen. And I was always in the office there. I had like, my own spot that I would be sent to. And there was even like an incentive with the principal. Like if you don't go to the office for like a whole week, I'll take you to McDonald's for lunch on Fridays.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that lasted like 2 weeks. But it was clear. And then when I went to high school, it was the same. And then the only thing is when I got to high school, that's when the suspension started. So they never suspended me in elementary school, but when I got to high school, that's when the suspension started. And it was always just like conflicts and like challenging authority. I was always a kid that you can never just tell no, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. I was always a kid like why? Why can't that be done? You're telling me just because you're an adult, and I'm telling you that's not enough. Yeah, that's how I was. So as a kid, of course, that is seen disrespectful, and you will get in trouble for that. And I didn't care.
Osama, I actually want to talk to you quickly because it's a weird thread that I'm noticing. Like everyone that's doing something positive as far as in their life, whatever thing they're doing, as far as finance, photography, entrepreneurship, now it seems like all of us had a linear thread of us being the worst kids in school, because everything you're saying really translates to me and Osama's story. That's why we're laughing.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. It is, but I wonder, like, is it because we've been told we're so bad, this is that, whatever, that we're just gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna show you, or I don't know.
You said something that really captivated me. I'm not someone, when I was younger, it's like, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you could tell me what to do. Also, too, in my head, I just like, there has to be a concept of respect. And I remember like a lot of the times when I would show an act of defiance towards teachers, which I was known to do, because like you said, you didn't get suspended in elementary. I used to get in school suspension with my colleague, my brother over here, and that's because we saw something wrong within the system, and we're like, no, that's not how it's gonna go. We were the voice of the voiceless for our class. Like there's certain people who would come to us, it's like, yo, I'm getting tired. So when me and him speak about it, you look beside you, everyone's silent, and like, where were you guys when you were like complaining to me? But I do want to say this quote, and it's like, the baddest students end up becoming the baddest bosses. They're the most toughest bosses because they're like, I'm not ever going to treat my employees like that. I'm never ever going to go do like that. So for me, with this entrepreneurship brand, I want to give everybody a voice. And that's why for me, school, you don't think I hate school because I sucked at it. No, I did suck at it, but it's not because of the reason I hated school. It's because there was a lack of discipline towards students or towards teachers, where they were not giving students enough time to give them the ability to learn and like give them the ability to actually speak their voices. That's why I'm not a big fan of school.
Well, I'm the opposite. I love school. I actually, like, for grades wise, like, I was never, like, my mom never got a call. It's funny, my sister was like, my mom would get calls, Carla didn't do her work, Carla didn't show up to class, Carla didn't whatever. And it's always, Kalysha was rude in class, Kalysha whatever, but Kalysha handed her assignments on time, and Kalysha's getting good grades, but Kalysha just has, like, no manners. So, yeah, it got to a point where my mom was just like, you guys got to stop calling me, call her dad. She's like, we got to alternate. Like, if this is an everyday thing and it's not going to change, you're going to have to alternate, because I can't keep taking all these calls. But I left high school. I graduated on time. I finished and I left and I went to college.
Now, okay. I want to figure out, because financial education now, and you told us at the beginning, and also you kind of led us in the middle. Where was that zap as far as like, hey, like I want to do this financial education? Like, what was the influence? Did you watch like a movie? Did you start seeing like motivational speakers on YouTube? Did you meet someone? Like, where did it start? Like, where do you have that feeling, oh my God, I did not know about this and I actually can do this? Like, where did it start for you?
So, okay, I'm gonna start back from college. So college, I went through college, first time getting OSAP, blew my OSAP in a day. $5,000 in a day. Ask me what I spent. I don't really remember. I just know a laptop came from it, but that was it. So $5,000 in a day was gone. So I always had this spending problem. Even when I was in high school and I was working at McDonald's, my paycheck would come in on Thursday, and by Sunday it would be done. So there was always this like, I need to spend all the money that I make mentality, right? And I would buy nonsense. Like there was a time I was cleaning out my closet and I found 2 disco balls. Why did I buy 2 disco balls? I don't know. I'm just buying nonsense, right? So nothing that's gonna actually like help me out or things that I actually need. Yes, that was college. I met my boyfriend at the time, and then as like our relationship started to get serious, I said we were deciding like, what do we want out of life, right? So we wanted to buy a house and we wanted to get things, and he was working at the time and I was working part-time, but I was still in school. So we're just trying to make moves on like and plans on how we can save for a house. And he was a saver and I was a spender, right? So I had to figure out how I can get to his level and meet him where he's at so that we can accomplish our goals together. So I was like, okay, like what's the basics? What's the thing? So I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling and I'm seeing a lot of pages, financial literacy page, financial like that. But they're from the States, right? So they're talking about 401ks and I think it's ROI or I something, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can't translate this into what happens here in Canada. So I'm going to have to do this research on my own. My mom works at the bank. She's worked at the bank since I was like alive. So I'm 24, so that will tell you how long. So she works in the mutual funds department. So she has a little bit of knowledge on certain things, but not like the broad, like the budgeting and stuff like that, not those stuff like that. So I said, okay, like I got to figure out what this is. So I sat down, I did my research and I'm like, okay, what do you want? Like, how are you going to like make sure that you actually like budget and make a plan and do all this stuff? So I said, okay, make an Instagram. I wasn't going to put my face on it. So I wasn't going to attach an identity to it. I was going to just like make an Instagram and leave it. At first it was private and I was just going to have my friends and my family on there. Right. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's make it public because this is information that people might want to just know and it could be beneficial, right? So I made it public, but I still didn't have my face on it. And then I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna just literally just post my updates. And this is just for me. I'm not doing this for anybody else. This is just for me. This is a place, at least I know I have to make a post every time I get paid. I have to make a post every time I learn something new. And it's gonna help me kind of retain that information and also kind of get me into a routine. And now, almost 2 years later, this May will be 2 years, we're almost at 1,000 followers. And I have taught workshops and I've done one-to-ones. I have like helped a lot of people make a plan. And it gives me like, I get to give back, right? So I'm a social worker first at heart. And that's the field that I'm in. So it's kind of nice that I kind of get that same like feeling, that warm feeling of helping somebody.
That's amazing. And now we're at the present. So thank you for updating us as far as your story. And you did college. Now, when you decided to become a social worker, I saw on your page that you had to go to University of Toronto. So what made you want to go to university and what made you want to do social work?
Yeah. So the helping nature. I've always loved to help people. So that was when I was in high school and I was talking to science counselor. I'm like, maybe I want to be like an orthodontist or like a dentist. And she's like, yeah, you don't have the grades for that. So you're not gonna make it there. So I'm like, okay, fine. And then I heard about I was in social service work at George Brown. And I'm like, ooh, like let me, do 2 years there and figure out what happened. So I killed 2 years there. Dean's List both all semesters, sorry. And I graduated with honors. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Now what? Like this isn't the end. Then I went to UOIT, which is Ontario Tech University, which now turned to Ontario Tech U. And I did my undergrad there in forensic psychology. So that's just the criminal side of social work, more like wrongful convictions, victimology, stuff like that I kind of really liked. So I did that. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? At that point in time, my relationship was breaking down. And I'm like, okay, so where do you most feel like comfortable? And I most feel comfortable in school. It's just, and I'm like, okay, so then what do you want to be? What do you want to do? And yeah, you've mastered like the social work aspect and everything like that. But is there something else where you would want to like branch off, almost like a second career, like a backup kind of like that? And I love to teach. I've always had a love for teaching. Even when me and my siblings used to play school, I was always a teacher. So I always had that, like, you know, creating worksheets and workbooks and all that fun stuff. So I said, okay, I found the higher education and adult learning program at U of T. And I said, okay, you know what? It's a master's program. I'm just going to apply. They say you don't get in your first time when you apply for your master's, but I'm like, whatever, I'll just apply and see what happens. And then I ended up getting in. So that was a little blessing in disguise. And I just finished that December that just passed.
I was going to say, it's actually amazing the fact that, one, you're able to do all that and what you love. A lot of people have trouble doing two things at one time. They think they'd have to pick one thing and they can't do the other. And to me, that's kind of inspirational because, one, like, I'm not sure how your experience was with the organization with Air Mills Youth. I know you spoke there. And I want to ask you, how was your experience talking to the youth about financial? Like, how was the perception for them?
It was good. I always find it interesting because, like, youth, when I was a kid, well, I'm still a kid, but when I was younger, at 16, 17, I don't really care about saving. I'm going to be honest. I'm caring about if I have enough lunch money to go with my friends to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Or I care about if I have the latest Jordans or the latest, like, you know, outfit and everything like that. I don't care about savings. And I do understand the idea of planting that seed, but I don't think that seed in a lot of younger youth will grow, which is why my end goal is I want a financial literacy general education elective in the colleges, because that is a time where people are like, okay, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta get my life. I'm working towards getting a job in this field. That's why I'm going to school. How do I manage the money once I get in the field? So that's why I went into the higher education kind of thing and adult learning.
Yeah. So you mentioned something. You worked at McDonald's, right? Mohammed, you also worked at McDonald's in high school.
Yeah, I remember.
And this question's for both of you. Do you think McDonald's taught you any lessons? Like, looking back at this age, did McDonald's teach you any lessons looking back in terms of money management or like becoming a well-rounded person? I want to hear your experiences from both sides.
McDonald's taught me so much, so much. Mind you, I got hired when I was 15. It was my first job. I was super excited. To let you know the mindset, I walked in with a dress shirt and like dress pants, and my friends happened to be there. Sohaib and the guys were there, Osama. And when I was walking in, they were just laughing at me. They're laughing so hard because it's McDonald's. Why are you wearing a dress shirt and dress pants and stuff, right? I took it super serious. My manager at the time, she knew, and eventually I got the job. And the cool thing about McDonald's, it's that it humbles you. It doesn't matter what you are in life, as far as your status, whether you're rich, middle, or poor. It humbles you because you realize that it's a melting pot of people that come into McDonald's, whether they have money or not. And through that, you have interactions, especially when I worked, because I was drive-thru, right? And you can learn something from every single person, right? Even though you're saying the exact same thing as far as, hi, welcome to McDonald's, how can I help you? But you can learn so much just through how they engage and the language. And also one thing, like my managers, hearing their stories, getting to know them on a personal level, and just realizing like them at their older age and whether the mistakes they made in life or just situations that happened that made them stuck there, just knowing that feeling of guilt and hatred they had towards not myself but other of my younger peers because they're so arrogant, didn't want to show up to work, just didn't care, is as if like my manager trying to tell them like, hey man, like don't end up like how I did and stuff. You don't want to be making $13.35 an hour and might have a Ford Focus or something like that. It's not worth it and stuff, right? So myself, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna try to take as much lessons as I can. So obviously when I do leave, it changed my life forever. And it did. Like McDonald's was the foundation as far as myself being a hard worker and just having the scope of never giving up.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've known you this whole time. You've never shared a story once.
Yeah, because obviously every time you used to come to McDonald's, but the thing is, even McDonald's, like, just think customers, like, we can't give you ketchup. You have to ask. It doesn't make any sense. So for me, I'm like, you know what, let me just go out of my way, give you extra ketchup. Or if a person I know, a group of guys, give them extra fries, also sweet and sour sauce, and through that you just build connections.
This guy would bless me, bro.
Bless everyone.
You would bless me, bro. When this guy was there, I was getting blessed with Jeer chickens.
Those were the days. But what about you? What did McDonald's teach you?
basically everything that you just said, and in the connections. Like I've had a lot of friends now in my adult life that I've met in McDonald's, and we've become like lifelong friends, which I appreciate, and I love them all so dearly. And it's just like, yeah, like schedules, and I know I need to be here this time. I can't show up late. I need to, you know what I mean? Just kind of having that, like it a lot of the traits, and even just the basics of the customer service, basics, being kind. How can I help you? Things like that. And it helps me now be the best social worker I can be, right? So no matter what the judgment, I don't know, I could look in your car could be the dirtiest car ever if I see it through the drive-through, but I'm still, kind and giving you the things that you've asked for, that you've ordered. So
Working at a fast food place definitely humbles, because I remember when I was 18 years old, I just finished first year, and I remember a friend Saad says to me, he's like, yo, there's this company where you could do lot attendant, which is basically taking the cars and like moving them around at the dealership. I'm like, I'm so down to do that. So when I went, I found out you needed your G license. I only had my G2 license. So the guy was like, hey, how about you do general labor? And I'm like, not knowing what general labor was. At this point, working at McDonald's, Pizza and Tim Hortons was like a big no, because of my ego was not allowing me to work there. Because I thought at that point I was bigger than anybody else. I'm like, who are Tim Hortons for me to work there? So I go for one day at general labor. I got humbled so quickly, because in my head I was like, these are people who are working for a living, and I'm only 18 years old. So I obviously at this point I'm trying to get my education. I know I have a future, because I'm taking towards the right steps. But these people are immigrants working to make a future. And instantly I'm like, I remember till this day the guy asking me, he's like, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "God willing, bro." In my head I'm not coming back at all. I remember the same day I went to my dad. I'm like, I'm quitting. He's like, why? I'm like, listen, I learned a valuable lesson. I'm going to go to Pizza. I applied, and I started working the night shift, which was like, I think Saturday and Sunday from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the morning. And then Fridays would be from 9 to 3. And that taught me such a humbling experience. You're always going to start on the bottom to get your way to the top. And I remember if anybody who's like, I don't know, 27, I'm 27 and younger listening to this, I don't care how old you are. Sometimes you have to work a harder shift before you maintain that top, because my ego was not allowing me. And hearing both your stories, one, inspiring, because like you said yourself, your friends were making fun of you. Our friends were making fun of you for like coming in dressed up like, oh, it's McDonald's. But little did they know that McDonald's shaped you the person you guys are today.
Now, the next thing I want to ask you is, I do not understand, because, well, yeah, that's the point. They're on the show. But the cool thing is, when people, especially we know with social media, whatever you're doing, whatever platform you have, you want to present the perfect version of yourself in whatever field that you're part of, as far as the knowledge and experience you gained and what you could give as far as expertise skills to others. When I saw your page, I'm like, cool, financial education, I understand. I've seen it a million times. The layout, beautiful, nice, and everything. The one part that literally appalled me, I was like stumped, was the post where you actually like were vulnerable. You're showing like all your receipts, everything. But what I mean, people, is the fact that debt, like she's telling you like, I'm in debt. And right now on your page, if you go on your page in the bio, it says current debt, $38,905.31. When I saw that, I'm like, I am done. This is the greatest thing on earth. She's broke a mechanism I've never seen. No one does this. It works because obviously it's vulnerability, it's truth. What makes you do that on a platform in a time in history where everyone's trying to be the perfect selves? Like, why is your imperfection so perfect?
So it actually went up. It's at 41,162 and 82 cents. Stay tuned. April 1st, it might be down a little bit lower. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm just like, okay, so the approach that I took with it. So for those who are listening and those who don't know, I share everything on the page. Everything financial related, everything that happens. If I'm going through, I find like our spending habits are tied to our emotions. So if I'm going through, I like to call it a financial funk. I am sharing that with everybody. So everybody is really there and with me every step of the way. I think it's important because I can't say, oh my God, I paid off my $28,000 car loan in 4 years. You can do it too. But not walk you guys through how I did it and not show you guys when I messed up, which was like, last summer when we were outside for that little bit of time. And I spent a lot more money than I actually had to, right? And So, and I want to let people know, like, it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to rearrange your plan, reevaluate, make a plan, scrap that plan, start a new plan. You might make the same plan that you just scrapped, but it's okay because now you feel like this time it's gonna work. It's okay to make those mistakes, and it's okay to be planning, and it's okay to do all this stuff, because that just shows that you're determined, right? You're trying to get to where you want to be, right? And it's okay to have pauses in time, right? I always say, I use the same reference in social work, like, you're in the car, it's your life, you're driving it. I can just be in the passenger seat to come and help you out and guide you. But sometimes if you're the driver and you want to pull off on the side and take a break, you could pull off on the side and take a break. There's nothing that tells you, like, how many times I feel like, okay, maybe I should just like cool it on the financial literacy, and just like relax, you know what I mean? And then a couple times I'm like, no, I want to go because I have these goals that I really want to meet. So you can take breaks, you can do all that stuff. I find you need to be open, because that's the only way that I can teach other people if I'm open. I can't put up this thing like, oh yeah, I'm a millionaire and I made this much money in 6 months. Like, no, like, come on, like, let's be realistic. And I think that's what brings people to me and draws people to my page, is that, wow, this girl is just like me. This girl is 24. This girl has a whole bunch of student loan debt. This girl, you know what I mean? This girl had a car payment. This girl had all these things that she wanted to do. And that she's telling you guys she wants to do, and she's done it, right? So she's paid off her car loan, she's working on her student loan, she's done these things, and it's all mapped out right in front of me. And she showed us how. I know how much she brings home every month. I would make this joke. The only thing they don't know about me is my SIN card, my SIN number. It's the only thing they don't know, right? Everything is out there. So
No, that's amazing. Like, quote that you said that stuck out to me is like, the only way I can teach is if I'm open. And I think that's a beautiful sentiment.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the same thing. That's what really stuck out to me, because I was going to say the more vulnerable you are with your audience, the more they're able to connect to you. That's why a lot of people come to our show or connect with us, because me and you are always open. Like, we've said so many things on this show. Had this show not been a platform, I guarantee we'd never have mentioned it. Like, we mentioned so many stuff in 100 episodes, now 102, mind you, that someone else can say is like, wow, this guy actually went through this, or he's not just this top shot. To me, I don't even look at myself as a top shot. Like, people look at our podcast and they're like, or maybe they look at you and they're like, oh, how can I get that? But I still humble myself, because I know I've been humbled multiple times in multiple years, where I'm like, I don't care how big I get, how successful I get. For me, being an immigrant, being obviously a visible minority, it always remembers that it's always to give back. So I guess when it comes to social work, right? For me, it's always want to give back to the community. So when I go talk to, for example, Aaron Mills, Youth Center, Future Vibes, when you go talk to them, I look at them and I'm like, I see myself. So when I see someone who's a troublemaker, I know it's not because he's a bad person. I just know that they're not giving him the chance to speak, or they're not giving him the chance to like express himself, because I was there. I was that kid who got away with it because obviously there was no social media. But brings me to my next question for you. Social media has a lot of bad advice when it comes to financial expertise, right? So what's your advice to the youth who are looking at that and say, oh, but I want his lifestyle? It's obviously a fake, it's a facade, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to be realistic and say, is this the path that's for me? What's my purpose, right? And sometimes you might not know, but this might not be, we're not all going to be rich. I'm sorry to say that to everybody, but sorry about everybody.
Oh, man.
We're not, you know what I mean? And that's just how it goes. But it's the difference between being rich and wealthy and living in a mansion and stuff like that, and just being financially secure. There's a big difference, right? We can all be financially secure if we all make the right steps, but there's things that's going to happen. There's jobs and there's careers. Like I didn't go, like, if I really wanted to be wealthy and have a great paying job and stuff like that, I wouldn't have went into social work, because they don't pay that. It's not good money over there, I'm telling you. So, you know what I mean? But I'm doing it out of the love of my heart, and it's not for the money. So that's what I would tell people. Like, pick a career that you're going to find. You're going to come home and you're going to be like, I feel satisfied. You know what I mean? I feel great. I feel amazing. Yeah. And then just keep working towards financial security.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to add on to what you just said, because you, again, sparked an idea in my head. And we've interviewed definitely over 100 people at this point. And you said something that captivated me. You just said that not everyone's going to be rich. Rich is not equal happiness. Because I could tell you from the people we've interviewed, I could tell, like, looking back from what you just said, a lot of them did not seem happy. Like, I could just look at their inner self. They seemed, in one specific person that we interviewed, the same day we interviewed him, he posted a post of him expressing how he felt. But looking at you, I see how authentic you are. You just said that you would rather do something that you love than make the money that, like, obviously you could have went somewhere else, because a lot of the times do something you love is a lot more important than making the money. I always tell my friends, I'm like, look, just because you enter this industry does not guarantee you're gonna make millions of dollars. Because I'm like, if you suck at it, you're gonna like hurt yourself even more. I thankfully have tried different industries. Like okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm good at. But if I hear one day, and I hope all the success to you, that you make it, I don't compare myself. I'm so happy for other people to succeed. I think a lot of other people are, if it's not for them, they get dissatisfied.
Yeah. And I agree with that. It's true. And we need to remove like that mindset from this, hoping this generation, maybe the next, because if somebody pays off their student loan, I'm so happy. And they tell me, and they like, I've been following your page, and you know how many testimonies I get in my DMs saying like, this is amazing, this helped me out, I followed this and this helped me get here, or I opened that account and now I have a stock account or something like that. Like just certain little things. Kind of, it's very, I'm super excited for you. I feel like, I think it was my friend at the time. He got a job in his career. He finished school and he wasn't able to find a job. He found a job in his career. I felt like I got a job. Like I really got a job. Like it felt amazing. Like, you know what I mean? So, and a lot of other people, you would be like, oh my God, like how'd you get your job so early in your career? How'd you get whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like I felt like I started to make like, almost 70K a year. Like I that's what it felt like. Right. And we need to just keep like, uplifting other people. Right. And understand that, remove the comparison and understand that my path and what's for me might not be for you, and vice versa. Right. So how can I want something that's not my path? It's not for me. Right. We all have our own path. We all have our own destiny. We all have our own purpose. So we all have to just keep that in mind.
I think it goes back to being content with yourself. And I'm not saying be comfortable. Like obviously take yourself out of your comfort zone, but you have to be content with yourself in the position that you are today. Like for me, I've just said earlier, like I'm not a big fan of school, but there's times where I thought I'm like, I might go back because I'm interested in like graphic design, or I'm like, I want to go back to my interest and see if I'm able to like extend my education and like grow myself. Obviously I did a lot of self-education, which is great, but obviously people have to stop comparing. Like for me, well, you're into UFT right now, so I don't look at that. I'm like, wow, like he's this. The older you get, certain things change. Doesn't mean you're gonna complete it. You change as an individual, and I think that's important for growth, because whenever you have kids, whenever you have youth asking you, "Hey, I went to university and I dropped out." Okay, cool, nothing wrong with that. But why did you drop out? Is it because you're a friend, or is it because this is a decision you made for yourself? And I think the beautiful part of both our platforms is the fact that you're giving back to the youth, and they're able to look at you in a vulnerable position and say, "Wow, one day I aspire to be like this person. Doesn't matter where I am, but I want to give back to people." And that's what I want to do. Like every youth, I want to go back to what you just said. You said you have a lot of testimonials that come to you, right? Which one, if you can pick one that really, really touched your heart and you're like, wow, I can't believe this person like got over it. Just pick one.
There's so many. Wow. There's even just like what blows my mind is the ones where people I've never counseled, like I've never met one-on-one, and I've never done my one-on-one sessions with. Those are the ones that blow my mind, because you've literally just gone through my page and read my post and pulled the knowledge for yourself, right? So when my one-to-one counseling meetings are people, I meet with them, I track their spending habits, I'll do their budgets, like I'll create a budget for them and I'll walk them through it. Like I kind of set them up, right? I create the path, I set them up for them, and then they walk the walk, right? The people that I don't do those for and they meet their goals, like those are the ones that are like, I'm like, wow, like that's amazing. I don't even know who you are, and I don't know, like, and the people that are like also like not in Ontario, I have some people in like in Alberta and stuff like that, and those people as well, that like I'm like, yeah, like this is dope.
And I wonder, like, the power of a thought, the power of intention, the power of affirmations, because you have the intention in your head, you have the goal, you have the vision, and like you said, you put it out there into the world, obviously on your platform, and it travels. And to your own surprise, it travels way beyond your territory and stuff, right? So talk to us about the power of the thought. Like, are you always thinking positively every single day? Are you just coming with new ideas, new visions? Like, what does the power and the law of attraction mean to you?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, I definitely like I'm always thinking and I'm always like, okay, how can I, what did you learn today? It's funny. So started the business in 2020. My relationship broke down August 2020. And then that's when the business started to go. So as soon as that part of myself fell off and I was had to go and refine my who I actually was and refine my identity, that's when the business started to like go. And that's when workshop started and I got into my master's and everything started. And that's when my personal development started to go, right? Started to grow. So, and the thought, so it all comes back to like being positive. I'm always like, what is the lesson? I always find, I said if something bad happens to me because bad things happen to me all the time. So if something bad happens, I figure out what's the lesson in there and how can I make sure that this doesn't happen again? Those are the two questions I ask myself. And also, you know what I mean? Like, it's very like, and just keep telling myself, like, I have a lot of positive self-talk. And I even added this part to my workshop is money affirmations, right? And financial affirmations and say, like, what do you want? And no goal is not attainable. And I know that it's harder for visible minorities. And it's very much like, you know what I mean? Like it's not set up to help us, but you know what I mean? Working through it and continuing on and you know what I mean? Even when you get pushed down, getting back up, that is the way. And that's, so.
Who do you go to for help? Because obviously you help so many people on a daily basis. You come with the plans, budgets, and advice, whether people talk to you or not, as we've been talking about this whole duration of the episode. But when time gets tough and you feel as if you're stuck, who do you go to help? Do you go for God? Do you go for friends? Do you go to family? Or do you go to yourself on an interpersonal level? Who do you go to for help?
So, of course, God, he's there always. I do go to church every Sunday, so that's amazing. And I have a close relationship with my church. My mom is very, very, and the difference between, it's funny, the difference between my sister is like, I think I learn through people's mistakes. So whatever mistakes that somebody else has made, and if they're open about their mistakes and how they would have been, I'm like, okay, great. So then I won't make that mistake, right? So my mom, like, she's very open with me about like the mistakes she's made, the money mistakes she's made. I watched my mom when my parents split say, yeah, you can go to my dad and I'll stay in the house and I'll figure it out myself. And then she figured out how to pay everything. So I've watched certain things and I've watched my mom go through a lot of stuff. And she's like my number one go-to. Also, me and my dad have a good relationship, and my dad is also very, I guess you could say, financially sound as well. And he always has good ideas and he's always a good ear and very much, right? So I like that. And so those are the two that I would go to. And in case of anything was happening, those are the first two that I would go to. And then my grandma's just there for emotional support. She's a good.
That's amazing. So this comprehensive system that you've talked and showed us obviously leads to who you are as far as your growth and where you want to take things next. And I love how you talked about you learn from others people's mistakes, which is something that me and Osama always do. Like, we live by this quote: a smart person learns from his own mistakes, a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And through that, life becomes more easy because you learn what to do and what not to do. And even if you are upon that situation, you learn how to maneuver it very easy. And obviously, like you said, the lesson out of everything, out of every hardship, every trial, every affliction, every trial and tribulation, if you see someone going through the exact same thing, you know how to give them the insight as far as the answers on how to deal with the situation at hand. So I think that's amazing. Now, I guess a question I want to ask you is, what's the future? What's next? What do you see yourself being?
I don't know. Like, I'm in my career, so that's it. I'm the only plan is for me is to just continue to get the experience, and I'm hoping to move. My goal, I have a goal, I have a money goal, so I want to make more money. So anywhere that I can gain a good experience, but I'm not gonna jump at the first opportunity. I'm just gonna make sure that this is something that I want to do. So that's for my career. I would love to start teaching part-time, 1 or 2 classes as a professor in a college. With my master's, I'm able to do that, whether it be in social work or whether the college grants me the opportunity to create. I already have the course created. Yeah, the 13-week course created. And you know what because in my I was in a curriculum development class, right? So that's all created. And what like, I know like week 6 would be presentations and people presenting their budgets and people doing like, you know what I mean? Like I really have it all mapped out as if I was already ready to go as a teacher. I just need somebody to just grant me the idea. And I've reached out and I've had some doors closed, but I am definitely, that's not going to stop me. I would really love to see a financial education general elective in colleges. I think this is the next step. We're giving everybody the tools to have the job, but we're not giving them all the tools to keep the paycheck, right? And to the knowledge. And right now I teach a workshop with CAMH, with their recovery college, and the participants are majority ones who are on social assistance, and I still talk to people who are on social assistance as well. I have clients who are on social assistance, but I think it's important to note that no matter how much money you make or where your income comes from, you can still learn about it. And you can still make the little moves. I think everybody, it's back to the comparison, as you were saying, with this person is saving $100 a month. Why can't I save money? I can't do it. I can't do it because I'm on social assistance. I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. No, you can. It might not be $100. You might be only be able to save $25 a month, but you're still saving towards something. You're still making that saving contribution or saving whatever. So I just think we have to kind of reframe our mind, strip our mind from this I can't, and stop this comparison, because not everybody is all of our baskets are different.
And honestly, just listening to you, usually Wade's family knows I'm talkative, but listening to you speak, I was just listening because I'm just like so in awe in terms of like what you're saying. Like usually this guy's the most quiet one, and I'm the one that's more talkative. So in my head, I'm just listening to both of you guys speak, and I'm like, so relatable. Like I feel if I bring you back more and more and more, I'm able to like get to know you. And obviously it's like 45 minutes in, but in my head I'm like, this person's amazing. But I guess one advice I can give you is don't even get bugged by people saying no, because in my head I remember you said something that just really like sparked the thought. When we were first hitting up organizations to go speak at, we had probably like over 50 no's, and it's not until 2021 recently is when people started saying yes to us. Even bigger guests were like yes. But I don't honestly, for me, the fact that you're working so hard, I can only imagine that you're gonna have your dream accomplished in these colleges, and that might be, for example, hitting up the Ministry of Education on Ontario, talking to them, whatever it is you just do. Like I don't doubt that you're gonna be successful. It's gonna be whatever it is, it's gonna happen. That's my advice, because listening to you, I'm like your words definitely, I guess, come with action. You're proving that action.
This question, I really. To be honest, when I talked to him about in the beginning as to why I wanted to have you on, yes, it was because of who you are, as far as your page, your education, and your vulnerability. But this is really the full circle for me, is the fact that when I see myself and the faces I want to see as far as that reflection in these fields, there's not much of us. And when I saw you, when I saw your page, I'm like, this is what we need as far as our people. Because every race, ethnicities have their successes and their plight. And obviously, one plight regarding African Americans and African Canadians and immigrants among the diaspora is the fact that we don't know how to use our money. We don't know how to spend our money. We have these weird spending habits and, ideologies. And the fact that it always hinders us and stuff, right? Like we grow up, like you said, like, like whatever money we get from McDonald's, our check, going to the mall, buying all the Jordans, buying all the Nike, winter, everything, just wasting our money, just food, everything. We just know how to spend because obviously the culture, the culture is the rappers, the celebrities, the ballers, the entertainers, the movie stars, spending money, get money, and that's what we learn doing. And we don't know how to get out of that mindset, and it's not until thank God with social media, we're able to provide a space and a platform where educators such as yourself and all the different fields who have our face and that mirror and that reflection in a beautiful light is showing us, hey, there's actually an alternative. You can actually build yourself long-term. You can build that generational wealth. I want to know you being yourself and having that reflection on the other side. What does it mean to you to be doing this, knowing that you could really change the world, not only for yourself, but for your people? Because Black people already have a plight, and the Black woman is arguably the most ignored person on earth as far as who they are and what they have to share.
Yeah, it feels this wasn't a plan that I had. I said, I'm going to wake up and this is what I'm going to do. Fell in my lap. I always say, like, I'm a social worker and an educator. I'm not a financial advisor, right? This isn't, I didn't go to school for finance. I don't even, people hear about it. I don't know, people like, so did you go to school for that? And no, I did not actually. Or like, so how are you getting these gigs? I don't know, but clearly I'm doing something right because you know what I mean? And I've had people come to me like, why don't you go and become a financial advisor? Why don't you go and you do all this stuff? And I said, that's just not what I want for myself. And they're like, you can make so much money. And I'm like, I'm not in it for the money. Right? In my bio, you'll see it called financial friend, right? I want to be that financial friend for people. I want to be that person that people can go to that be like, yeah, you're like me. If I go get licensed or if I go get like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it removes that, right? You know what I mean? So I'm very adamant on not getting licensed. I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to make thousands of dollars a month. Like I'm okay with where I am right now. But I'm excited to see what the future holds for me because as I was saying before, like this was it fell into my lap. And when it fell into my lap and I'm like, okay, I guess I can do this. I'm going with the wind. Like, here we are. Like, let's do this. It wasn't anything planned. Like I planned to be a social worker, right? So I planned to do all this stuff and I planned to be a professor, right? I didn't plan to teach financial literacy. It just literally just fell in my lap. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I just got to keep reminding myself. Sometimes we do get discouraged when there's like things, and even with like getting into the colleges, right? Like getting like not you kind of feeling like you're getting the runaround and you're not hearing back from people, and it kind of gets a little bit discouraging. But I gotta keep reminding myself that it'll come, but maybe just not your time right now.
So it will come. It's just not your time right now, and it just fell into my lap, and. With that, I have no more questions. I do have a million more questions. We don't take more of your time. We are so thankful. Part 2 coming soon. You have to come back. You definitely have to come back. And I think that everything you said in this episode, as far as your vulnerability, your proven chance and action of just wanting to learn, and also the stuff you're building as far as the foundation, helping people 101, budgets, everything, and just that foundation as far as that system, your mom, father, grandma as well. It shows the totality of who you are. And like Osama said, you're going to do great things. We're so happy, so excited for you. Lastly, please advise everyone where they can follow you as far as more information and help.
Yeah, so you guys can always follow me at I'll Never Be Broke Again on Instagram. You'll see the logo. It's a girl and a guy, and they have money at their ears like a phone. And you'll see my name's not on there. You'll see Cal, so that's what other people call me as well. And yes, if you have any questions, send them my way. I won't charge you for asking me a question. I have people that ask me questions all the time, and I give them advice right then and there. But yeah, like if you have a question at 3:00 in the morning, send it. I'm probably up, so I will definitely answer. But if I'm not up, then I definitely answer it in the morning. Tune in every Wednesday. I am teaching a workshop for an hour from 5 to 6 p.m. So if you want the link for that workshop, I can definitely send you that link. And even though you're coming in week 4, that's okay. It's still early, and I could definitely provide you the information from the previous weeks that you missed. So it's here. It's ready when you are. And yeah, just take your time. Don't rush. We all have goals that we want, but we have to plan it out, and I'm here to help if you need me.
Any other words, Osama?
Guys, go make sure and follow her. Go attend those workshops, because if you don't, I'm a person to go. I'm gonna go to your house and find you. Go to your laptop, type it in, and make sure you're watching. But with that being said, we thank you for coming on. I had a blast. Mo, do you have a blast? Of course you had a blast. Open your mic up.
Amazing blast. It was insightful. It was everything. And like you said, you planted a lot of seeds, and we can't wait to watch it grow.
Peace. You guys thought we were done? I don't think so. We still gotta wrap it up. please follow me at Kusa300. Follow my co-host Muhammad at Muhammad.global. Make sure to follow our page at Instagram. Also, make sure to subscribe to all our platforms. We drop every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Thank you. We'll see you next week.